Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and we have something really cool to take a look at today. It is the final piece of the W Dragon puzzle when it comes to the officially licensed Jurassic Park statues. To my knowledge, I don't think there are any past this point. I know they have moved on now to some really cool Godzilla models as well as dinosaurs. Again, they also have a few other repaints of older models and that really cool vintage Rex coming out. But I think this might be the last officially licensed Jurassic product from W Dragon for now, until maybe if they unveil more. I'm not really sure if the license has expired. Either way, we've got ourselves Rexy, and this is one that I've been really looking forward to. However, I will say straight away, I'm actually pretty surprised that the box is as small as it is. I definitely was expecting the box to be a little bit larger, but regardless, you can see as far as the box goes, you have a nice image here on the front, kind of like the mouth of our Tyrannosaurus, as well as the Jurassic Park logo, and then the W Dragon logo down here, also stating that the Rex is in 1/35th scale. If we come, actually we'll go this way, probably makes more sense. If we go this way, you can see we have a really nice Jurassic Park logo, again, the classic full-colored version right there, and then it's the bottom of the box. Not really much of anything going on the sides of the box. But here on the other side of the box, you can see a gorgeous image of the Tyrannosaurus model, the Rexy model that is contained within. So let's go ahead, pop the box open, and check it out. So here is our Tyrannosaurus model right here before us, and I must say it does look really nice. It's absolutely smaller than I expected it to be. Like, honestly, a little shocking as far as the size goes, but it is a similar size to the older male kind of Lost World Jurassic Park T-Rex that they had out. But what's kind of confusing to me is I thought that the JP3 male Rex they had made not long ago was kind of like a sub-adult or a juvenile of some kind, so it was a little bit smaller because of that. Whereas this Rex here looks to be about the same size as that one, but Rexy here would without question be a full-grown Tyrannosaur, so it just seems a little small to me. But outside of that, the sculpt is incredible looking on this, perfect as far as replicating a JP Rex as far as I can tell, and the paint job as well looks pretty nice, maybe a little bit light in the tones of brown, I would say, almost like some nice yellowish browns throughout that are a little bit lighter than I would have expected, but it definitely still looks really cool. So we're going to go ahead and jump straight to a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our T-Rex, that is definitely one of the nicest head sculpts that I have seen as far as a Rexy head sculpt goes. Like, the proportions, the appearance, everything looks gorgeous. And look at that image there of Rexy kind of staring us down. That is just phenomenal. About as beautiful as it gets when it comes to a JP-style Tyrannosaurus. You can see as far as the texturing goes here in the face, there's some very nice, very vibrant scale detail. Really pops on the sculpt, something that we usually see on most W Dragon models. And the paint job, even though I feel like the tones are a little bit more yellow than I would like, they look great as far as the actual application. Like, there's quite a bit of depth to the paint here. You can see a lot of different kind of like variations of browns and stuff that have been added, as well as a nice dark wash has been added to kind of highlight all of the detail here on our Rex. You can see some stripes kind of leading through the palette here. Again, some more variation of darker browns and stuff. You can also see some darker tones that run along the jawline, something you also usually see associated with this Rex. The nostrils are very nicely sculpted. The eye darkens there in the eye socket area, the paint does, and the eye itself is painted very nicely with a yellow, kind of like some reddish tones in there as well, and then a black pupil, and it has a very nice gloss coat to it. You can see again that the nostrils are highlighted with a darker tone of color, and we generally have a darker brown that kind of runs here over the top of the head down into the front of the snout, which looks really nice. Incredibly smooth transitions there as far as that paintwork goes back and forth between the different tones of browns and yellowish browns. Very, very nice looking. Our Rex has its mouth sculpted in an open position, and you can see the detailing here on the skin as the mouth is open looks great. You can really see like the skin stretching very nicely, and you can see nice creasing and wrinkling in the skin, as well as again some nice paintwork, as there's definitely a wash included in there, as well as some various tones of color, and there's a beautiful gloss coat, of course, to help give it that nice wet look. The teeth look great as well. They genuinely look real, like they absolutely look like a real animal's teeth. Gorgeous paintwork on those as well. And then, of course, a gloss coat on top of the teeth, just like we see on the inside of the mouth, just to add that extra bit of realism. And it does really, really look nice. Like you can see, the teeth completely look about as realistic as it would get for a model of a Tyrannosaur's teeth. And then you can see that we do have the tongue sculpted here on the inside of the mouth. That as well looks great. There's also some various tones of color added to that. And then again, that gloss coat runs the entire inside of the mouth here of our Rex. Boy, the detail on the upper side of the inside of the mouth as well looks fantastic. And then if we come back up here, you can again lead back here into the neck a little ways of our Tyrannosaurus, and you can start to see a lot of like really nice looking skin texture for the model, nice skin creasing and wrinkling, especially since the Rex has its head turned to the right. You can also see some tensing as far as like muscle definition here in the neck, nice skin wrinkles and stuff here in the lower part of the neck. Again, beautiful coloration throughout. Again, really smooth transitions. We have a darker brown as we lead down to kind of a yellowish brown, and then sort of like an off-white here for the underside of our Rex. And all of it's tied again together with that nice dark wash. And the dark wash isn't overly dark. It feels like it's just a darker brown. So they didn't use like a black wash or anything like that where it would be too strong, which is also a plus. You can also start to see again the stripes picking up here. Again, you see those really nice, really subtle dark stripes running along the back of Rexy, and those are present on this model. As you lead down, you can make out the shoulder blade as well as the really nice arm sculpt, nice muscle definition. Both hands are in a slightly different position. You can see the nails are painted very nice, and they have a nice gloss coat to those as well. Nice scoots down the fingers of our Rex. You can also pick up on the rib cage here, sculpted quite nicely in the stomach region, as well as more incredible looking skin texture. Again, beautifully brought to life with that dark wash, and you can just generally see so much variation of color, again with like the yellowish browns, the darker browns, and then the really dark striping here running along the back. But very, very nice looking, very smooth paintwork. You've got the hip bone here, kind of like some scoots running over the top of the hip bone as well. Again, really smooth transitions as we have this darker brown running along the front of the thigh down into the shin. But you can again see that we have these lighter tones back here, kind of like some spots of some various browns in that area as well. The muscle definition as well looks great. As you lead down, you can definitely make out the kneecap right there, as well as the calf muscle, and some gorgeous skin texture within those areas as you lead down into the foot, and that foot sculpt is beautiful. Nice scoots down the toes, nice variation of color as you can see different, darker variations of browns as well as even blacks kind of mixing within. And the nail paint looks really good as well. You can actually see quite a few different various tones of color right there in the nail paint. Kind of starts out with like a reddish brown and then transitions to a dark brown and then transitions to a lighter tone. That's quite a bit of color to have right there in those nails, and you can also see that nice gloss coat to them as well. And then of course we have dew claws. The dew claws are painted just like the claws here on the front of the toes, which looks really nice. As you lead up here, you can see how the leg is taking quite the step forward, stretching the skin here on the tail of our Rex. Again, nice skin wrinkles and all kinds of skin movement shown off here. You can also see how nice the dark wash looks on the underside of the Rex, as well as almost like some pinkish tones right there on the Tyrannosaur. And then as you lead out the length of the tail, you can again see more fantastic looking skin texture, as well as those stripes and everything as we lead out the length of the tail here for our Rex. Really nice curve to the tail, as well as you can see it leads out with a really, really nice looking curve to it. It kind of heads in an upward position as well before curving back down. Really majestic looking curve, I would say, for our T-Rex. And then if we turn it around and take a look at the opposing side, you can again see the head sculpt is phenomenal as far as the actual detail as well as the appearance. And also that paintwork again looks great. Probably one of the nicest painted Tyrannosaurs that I've ever seen when it comes to a JP style Rex. The eye is perfectly placed as well. And then you lead back into the neck. You could see more skin detail. Again, more of the skin kind of stretching as the Rex is turning its head. You'd see a little less creasing over here, a little more stretching, and you definitely can take note to that, as well as, again, that muscle definition in the neck as the neck is kind of tensing. And then you lead back into the arm. You can see that both arms are kind of held into the body, but slightly in different positions. Nice muscle definition in the arm again. Really nice hand sculpt. And then you lead up into the stomach. You can really make out more detail in the stomach on this side because the leg is trailing over here, so it exposes a lot more of the stomach region here of our Rex. You can see how they've really nicely highlighted the rib cage there with the darker browns, again within those yellowish browns. That looks really cool. Super, super nice looking paintwork on this figure. You can see the skin stretching here off of the stomach region as well, since the leg is trailing. Again, very big, large thigh for our Rex with some nice muscle definition leading down. Again, nice skin wrinkles and stuff as you lead down there in the joint of the knee with the calf muscle and everything. And then we have the really nice bending here of the toes as the Rex is walking along, taking a step forward. You can see how the foot is just leaving the ground right there. Really nicely painted nails. Even the nails themselves have some very, very fine detail to them, kind of like cracks and crevices, which looks really cool. And then you lead back up into the tail. You've again got some more skin wrinkles and skin creases and stuff as you lead out the length of the tail with that really nice, gorgeous curve. And you can see the nice creasing and everything here, as well as the skin texture for the underside. All sorts of skin wrinkles and stuff as you move through. And they 100% nailed it as far as the accuracy of the sculpt goes with this Rex. As you can see, it has those trademark larger scales here on the underside, which is something that's always very important to include in a Jurassic Park T-Rex. So that is definitely one of the nicest Rexy models I have ever seen. No doubt about that. And then we've got ourselves the base, and you can see the base this time is nothing more than a nice black stand with a beautiful looking Jurassic Park logo. But a lot of the bases lately have had kind of like some earthy areas and stuff on them, whereas this one doesn't. It basically just has the black stand with the JP logo, and then we have a little area here to put our peg into. And then the underside here tells us what our limited edition number is of the Rex. We have 169 of 450, and you can see again all the information as far as the model itself goes. Pretty nice looking base, not quite as nice as the previous bases just because it's kind of missing like an earthy texture here, but it's still pretty nice. The Rexy itself is absolutely gorgeous though. As far as applying your Rex to the base, you have a peg here that you slide into the slot that's given to us right there, and then once it slides in, it stands in there perfectly. As far as a size goes, for a length on our Rex from the tail to the snout, you are looking at about 12 1/4, maybe a little bit over inches, or about 31, maybe a little bit over 31 centimeters. It, of course, would be a little bit longer if the tail were kind of stretched out, but since the head's turning right and the tail's also turning right, it kind of like, shortens the length of the Rex. But as far as a height goes, to the back of the neck, about 4 3/4 inches or 12 centimeters, and then to the top here of the tail, the highest point, about 5 1/2 inches or 14 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to our W Dragon Rexy here. And you can definitely see that Mr. Papo Rex and our W Dragon version here are definitely a very similar size. You can really tell that just by looking at the size of both of the head sculpts between the two Tyrannosaurs. Obviously, the W Dragon version is much nicer as far as looking like a JP Rex, also mostly because it has way better looking teeth. Pretty similar in size if you happen to have that Papo version. And now we've got our two officially licensed Jurassic Park Tyrannosaurs from W Dragon, as we have the male, the JP3 version, and then of course Rexy. And you can see exactly what I was saying, how they are a very similar size. And again, I thought that the JP3 male was a little bit of a younger version of a Rex as opposed to an adult. So I don't know if maybe I'm just a little confused about that or not, but you can absolutely see how cool these two look together. I will say these are absolutely awesome companion pieces when it comes to a pair of, Jurassic Park, male and female Jurassic Park Tyrannosaurs. But for another comparison, here we have our W Dragon Spinosaurus next to our W Dragon Rexy. And again, I really feel like this image here shows off how small the Rex is, because you can see how much more massive the Spinosaurus is compared to Rexy. And I feel like Rexy would probably square up to the Spino a little bit better than we see here. But again, maybe I'm just incorrect. Maybe I just don't know the size of Rexy very well. And maybe I should have looked into that a little bit more, I guess. But definitely, again, two really cool W Dragon models. And then when it comes to W Dragon female Tyrannosaurus, here's the previously released kind of like unofficial version of Rexy. And you can see this one is actually quite a bit larger than the newer one. Even just looking at the head sculpt, like the head sculpt is quite a bit bigger than the newer one. Though I will say I completely prefer the newer one as far as the sculpt goes. they are definitely quite a bit different in the size department. We have ourselves the Nanmu Tyrannosaurus Rex next to the W Dragon version. I was also going to bring in the W Dragon Indominus Rex, but I just put it up on a shelf like about 2 weeks ago and kind of buried it behind some stuff, so it'll kind of be a nightmare right now to pull it out. But size-wise, the Indominus is very similar to the Spinosaurus, I would say. So that should help to give you a pretty good idea of a size of that one. If you guys really, really want to see that comparison, I can dig it out and throw an image up on the community section or something like that. But again, this is another comparison that I feel like, as far as Rexy models go, was one that was pretty important to show off. Again, that the newer W Dragon version is quite a bit smaller than what I would have expected for Rexy, but it, without question, is easily one of the most beautiful sculpts and paint jobs that I've seen for a Jurassic Park style Tyrannosaurus. So this brand new W Dragon Tyrannosaurus, the Jurassic Park Rexy model, is absolutely gorgeous when it comes to the sculpt and paint job. And I feel like that's been pretty much the case through all of these W Dragon releases, is that the paint job and the sculpts have been stellar on all of them. Like, there is not a single model that was released within these official Jurassic Park models that I personally have acquired that was anything less than jaw-dropping. And this Rexy, again, is exactly that. The sculpt is incredible, sporting a really cool pose as the Rex walks along, kind of crouching a little bit, looking nice and ferocious like she always does, and also looking incredibly screen accurate, like it literally looks like they pulled the Tyrannosaur straight from the film and brought it here for us as far as the sculpt goes. And of course, it's overloaded with all the detail you would love to see to make this probably one of the most lifelike Tyrannosaurs that I've seen when it comes to a Jurassic Park version. You also have a really, really nice looking paint job, and even though I feel like the paint job might be a little bit lighter than I would expect on a Rexy, and also a little bit lighter than the promotional images had led me to believe it would be, it does still look really nice on the model. They've used some gorgeous tones of color on this, incredibly smooth transitions back and forth, a nice dark wash to highlight all of the creases and cracks and crevices in the skin, and again, just some of the nicest paintwork I think I've seen for a Rexy model anywhere. So much slight color variation, and really quite a bit of depth to the paint job here for this Rex, so that always is a huge, huge plus as far as how good this looks. And then you have the base, which the base could have been better if we had some sort of like an earthy texture or just something going on, but when it comes to presenting a Jurassic Park Tyrannosaurus in, potentially like the most museum-like way possible, this looks pretty good, as we have a gorgeous looking black base with that beautiful looking Jurassic Park logo on there. So as a whole, even though it's a little smaller than I was expecting and slightly different as far as the coloration goes, it's an incredible version of a Jurassic Park T-Rex, and I really, really highly recommend picking it up, because it could easily be one of, if not the best versions of Rexy out currently. So if you would like to pick this up, I will include a link in the description to Sugo Toys, where I purchased mine, assuming it's still in stock. I'm not entirely sure if it is. If it's not, I'll try to find you a link to somewhere else, but I'm pretty sure it should be. So check the link in the description, grab this model before it sells out. Again, being a limited edition, you don't want to miss it. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.